Welcome back, everyone, to our third installment of UniFi Solution Webinars. In previous webinars, we covered UniFi Door Access, UniFi Surveillance Solutions, and today we review the UniFi Switching and Power Tech Solutions. If you missed any of our previous webinars, they are available on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ISP Supplies. So make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Today's presentation of UniFi Switching and Power Tech will be presented by Andrew Pieper. He's a solutions engineer at Ubiquiti. For many years, Ubiquiti has been providing switching solutions which addressed industry needs in both functionality as well as pricing. Throughout the years, they've been improving this product line in a very proactive manner, always staying ahead of the competition and providing these future-proof solutions at price points that others can't even come close to. And this changed the market and forced all other manufacturers to have to step up their game and try to keep up with what Ubiquiti is still to this very day bringing to the table. Our webinar today will be recorded and also uploaded to our YouTube channel, joining the previous UniFi discussions that we've had. I'm sure plenty of questions will come up during our presentation. Please submit your questions in our chat window, and we will try to cover as many as we can, time permitting. So thanks again, Andrew, for joining us and preparing today's content. Andrew, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. And thanks everyone here for being here today. I always enjoy meeting with you in these webinars, and I'm excited about today. We don't often do these webinars about switching, but it's nice for us to get a focus a little bit on this part of our portfolio, as I think we've had, especially recently, a lot of new SKUs that have came out, new models that maybe a lot of you have asked, okay, where does this fit in with the other offerings? Today, I'll go over our portfolio. We'll talk about like what we're currently offering, including some of those new products, and we'll discuss where those fit in with the rest of the products. We'll also discuss kind of the strategy behind that. So why do we come up with this switch, or where does it fit? We'll talk about why we have so many models, and we'll also, as time permits, I'll go over and show you some from my lab. I can show you some configuration options. We can discuss also questions that you have. I like to spend plenty of time on those questions. And so throughout this webinar, we get to a break after I get through my slides. We'll answer some questions and we'll move on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you today and look forward to hearing any questions you have. So let's get started then. So just a little introduction about UniFi. I think everyone here probably understands this, so I won't spend too much time on the intro. But UniFi is a really rapidly growing, product line with in just a small number of years. We just first introduced our first access point back in 2011 or so, and since then we are now the largest. We become the largest access point vendor in the world. So in just a matter of 14, 15 years, we went from having our first product to now having this full end-to-end IT solution. What I think this is for a number of reasons, but we're a little bit different than everybody else. I think that's part of what made us successful has been our approach. And since the time I've worked here, I've been here since 2015. And since the time I've been here, that we've been committed to to this core set of ideals and kind of a focus in the way we approach our products. So the first of these kind of pillars of our brand is quality hardware. We try to design our hardware to be high performance, reliable, and also we want them to look to look nice on your ceiling if you're mounting an access point, or if you have a camera mounted on your exterior building. We want it to not be an eyesore. So we try to approach design with this very thoughtful perspective. You'll see that our products have kind of aesthetic to them that's more sleek and kind of it's pretty easily recognized at this point, and that's part of something that sets us apart. We also have innovative software, so we're always working on making our software also look nice and work well. And our whole approach with UniFi is we try to simplify the task of managing an IT environment. We know that many of you here are integrators and MSPs, and so your job is maintaining for your customers in many cases, deploying and maintaining these networks or these deployments. And we know that your time is sensitive. Sometimes you can get spread too thin doing a large number of installs and maintaining those installs. With UniFi, we try to approach our software from the standpoint we want it to be very accessible and easy to use, and we want it to streamline your job. our whole goal is once you deploy our product, we want it to be very easy to deploy. We want it to be easier than any other product out there. And then once it's deployed, we want it to be easy to manage and maintain and inspire confidence on behalf of your customers and you, and to make it easy for you to be able to grow your business. And that brings us to the third point. Part of why we've also, I think this is a huge part of our success, is that we've been maintained committed to license-free cloud management. We don't think you should have to pay for hardware and licensing. And as a result, where many vendors offer hardware that is more expensive than ours, they also offer licensing that sometimes will dwarf the cost of the initial purchase. If you operate over 8 years, you're talking about 3 times the cost of the initial hardware device. So UniFi, our approach is different. We have a very aggressively priced product up front, and then after that, we like to cut out the licensing. So no matter what product you purchase on UniFi at this point, whether it be on our physical security line, on our digital displays, EV chargers, all these products come with free license or license-free cloud management, which means you can manage it from anywhere in the world without having to pay a license fee. So that's a big part of, I think, why we've been successful among MSPs and integrators is we want to make your job easy to scale instead of taking that license and putting it in the pocket of the vendor. That money can go to paying you for that maintenance and make sure that your business is successful and that you're have a reason to be involved with this. So those are kind of our that's kind of what makes us unique. And let's just talk a little bit about portfolio and what that's made up of. We have several products. We initially started with just access points, and now that's grown to be a full stack network solution with a unified network. We have access point switches, 25 gig WAN gateways. We've got full next generation firewall devices. And we got you covered for this end-to-end network solution. We have UniFi deployed in the most aggressive environments and most demanding environments in the world, including full stadiums. I personally worked with deployments on this scale, and I can tell you it works for this scale and works very well, and it offers like immeasurable cost savings. So we also have UniFi Protect, which is kind of the next product that we released on the UniFi line that's now grown a lot as well. This is our camera surveillance line. We now can handle as many as 1,000 cameras per site with 5 of our enterprise network video recorders with 16 hard drive bays on these. We have a new cameras that include things like edge recording with micro SD cards built into the product, so that if you have an additional storage in case anything happens with the MVR, if say there was a theft at a site where they broke in and they tried to steal the network video recorder, you have those micro SD cards and all those cameras. We've got, but it's a really nice portfolio. We've got a huge range of products, and I think really the economics of deploying UniFi Protect has improved dramatically, and it's become very affordable and scalable. But also our AI feature set has grown a lot. We also have UniFi Access, which is this physical security, this door access control system. We've got intercoms. We'll talk about some of this today. Just in connection with the switching. We also have UniFi Talk, a new platform of phones, and we also have our UniFi Connect, which is digital displays, EV chargers, IoT devices, and so on. And there's a lot more other products here. We have a new NAS device. We have an amp. We keep expanding. Our whole goal here is to be that end-to-end IT provider. So you can see here just some of the other areas that within our portfolio, within these areas I talked about that we cover. It's always growing as a portfolio. I have a hard time keeping up with all the new products. I train all of our distributors on new products, and I'm constantly having to update my slides. And so you can see this doesn't even capture the full range of what we offer. But our whole goal is to bring all these parts of IT management together into one interface and make it very easy to manage and deploy IT solutions. Let's move on to switching at this point. I want to start talking about the core focus of our webinar today. So today we're going to talk about our switching portfolio. I'm going to go over briefly on slides. I got some overviews and comparisons of of different products. I will say, if you're interested or you want to know where our portfolio is at, our website remains the definitive source of information. We have really good resources on our website, including comparison tables between products. We have great graphics and everything that can be really helpful if you're trying to share some information or market to a customer. There's a lot of good resources on our website. But this solution that we have now, we've come a long way from when we first released our first generation of switches. We've now got, with our new enterprise campus line, we have up to 100 gig QSFP28 ports, and so the switching is going to keep growing, and we're going to keep try to provide this all-in-one solution for any network out there. Our this is kind of an overview of our switch products. So different product families. So this is the I mentioned earlier that you guys may have noticed that we keep coming out with new switch SKUs. And we have professional, we have Pro Max, we have Pro HD, Pro XG. So you can see there's a lot of different categories, and that can sometimes be daunting. It may seem like hard to follow, but the reason we do this and we release so many switch SKUs is it really comes down to the fact that with UniFi, our whole approach is, a lot of vendors out there will try to push the cutting edge of technology all the time with their customers. So they'll have a very aggressive, high cost solution that in many cases customers don't need. With us and with our customer base, we're deployed everywhere across the world and at any scale. And so we find, in international markets, a lot of times customers, in developing customers don't need 10 gig. They don't need 2.5 gig in many cases. So we have switch models for everybody and at different scales and different demands. So you can see here at the top of the table, we have our new enterprise line or enterprise campus switches. These do 25 gig on the they do up to 25 gig on the aggregation switch on those down on that ECS aggregation. We also do up to 100 gig uplinks and connections between those switches. We have across all those switch ports, we have 10 gig on all those switch ports, and we also have up to PoE plus plus plus, which it was something we used to reference high power PoE plus plus. This is basically for the most current and most demanding PoE applications. You may have some large displays out there that can be powered by PoE. A lot of times, these types of things may require additional power. And so these switches can facilitate whatever PoE demand you need, whatever scale of networking you require, whether it be for media applications, that type of thing. The ECS, our new enterprise campus switch line is able to facilitate whatever network scale, whether it be stadiums, whether it be full enterprise environments. It's really has you covered for whatever scale you need. We also have our Pro XG, which is a step below that. So you can see as we go from the top down, our speeds on the ports will go down. And so the idea here is if you don't need something for your deployment, find the appropriate switch model that gives you the right balance of features and costs. And what you'll find is at the top, these will cost the most. And as you go down, they'll be more affordable. Again, check out our website. We'll have full comparisons here. But I'll just mention our Pro XG real quick. These are brand new switches we announced that are built around 10 gig. A lot of customers out there have been asking for 10 gig switching from UniFi. We just announced that very recently. And so I'm really excited that this is coming out now with the Pro XG. So we've got a 10 port, a 24 port, and 48 port, and these support that 10 gig, those 10 gig ports across the device. We also have the Pro HD, which is a nice step above the Pro Max switches, which have been very successful. Currently, we only have a 24 port Pro HD, but this switch is great because it's built around all PoE plus plus. So this is a 24 port switch that has up to 600 watt. It can handle 600 watts. So you can think about that per port. That's very capable of meeting whatever power demand that you have out there. So let's say a great use case for Pro HD would be if you guys are deploying a large UniFi access install. Let's say that you're doing a apartment complex with 20 apartments, all of which have their own access hub and their own camera that looks at the door of each of these. It includes also a Pro reader with the camera with the ability to ring the doorbell for the person inside to see on the other side of the video and be able to admit that person. That's an example where this Pro HD would be great because with all these ports allowing PoE plus plus, you can facilitate all of that. And in the case of like access control, you can have this plugged into like a UPS, so that if there's a bit of a power outage, you have battery coverage, so that these door access control solutions stay on. But this device is really valuable for those high power applications. Now it's not highest density with 24 ports each, but with the power they can provide, I think you'll see there's still a lot of use case for this. Pro Max, though, I think is kind of like at this point the I would say is the most versatile, kind of the mid ground, kind of like most applicable for most customers. The Pro Max is a nice blend of what is currently available and what clients can support with up to 2.5 gig, and it's a mixture of 2.5 gig and 1 gig ports. It has PoE++, has a nice balance of power availability for a 48 port switch, for example here. I think these are great value, and you'll find that this is maybe a good place to start from. Unless your client needs more, maybe you start from the Pro Max level at this point. If you're deploying to a business, maybe at home, you might start with professional or standard or even one of our desktop products, and that's okay. I have all those switches here listed for you for your information, but feel free to take a screenshot, refer back to this, but I recommend going to our website for these types of comparisons. We have really good information there that I think you'll find very insightful. So we also have other form factors, including desktop form factors that's meant for a smaller business or a home where maybe you have um, several wired devices in your home entertainment system. That might be a device that gets installed on the console, like in the console cabinet there. Um, this these devices that we have a huge range of these. We even have outdoor switches with our Flex APs, and with the Flex utility box can be installed to extend networks into outdoor areas. So these are we have whatever you need covered. Just check out all of our products we've released in the last year. We've released our Ultra line, which is very affordable, higher power. Basically, the idea is we sell these can be either powered by PoE, or you can use one of our optional adapters that increase the amount of power it can provide. So if you're an average customer, maybe you don't need anything, you can just power it by PoE. But for those higher power applications, you can use by the optional adapter with it. We also let's move on and talk about our new enterprise line. This is kind of an important thing since we're on the call with ISP Supplies today and Wave. Wave is now one of our enterprise partners, and what this means is that they're capable of offering our enterprise products at a great discount compared to what you're used to seeing for UniFi products. And this is something I want to just emphasize briefly, is that if you're an MSP that installs at larger scale environments or larger demand environments, we offer a new line of products, including access points, switches, NVRs, gateways, that are all part of this new enterprise partner program. If you're interested in being a part of this and you want to deploy these types of solutions, you can work with them and register your deployments so that you get like a 30% additional margin on these products. And so this is for those integrators and MSPs that are that want additional they want to deploy the highest end products, and have in the past I've heard a lot of concerns from MSPs and integrators about the margin. This is a great opportunity for you to get involved with a higher margin product that also is best for that can work for any scale application. This can run full stadiums. This is a very capable device. So this enterprise campus aggregation is kind of that first product we released on the switching line. This switch, if you look at the capacity, 4 terabit switching, terabit per second switching. You can see all these are 25 gig, our 25 gig SFP28 ports. They can do 10 gig, 25 gig on these. And then we have 6 on this 600 gig / 40 gig ports as well. These are also the first switch that we offer that supports MC lag. So this is pretty exciting. That as a way of adding additional resilience in a network and redundancy. That's kind of the whole approach of our new enterprise products. So these are all products that are meant for the highest demand, highest uptime, critical, high availability deployments. These switches can be deployed in a using MC lag to create fully redundant and to eliminate any single point of failure on your network. These also have the nice one. Something that I've heard asked from a lot of customers over the years is, why don't you guys have redundant power supplies on your switches, or do you have any models that we could get that would have that? We now have that on all these enterprise products. We have redundant power supplies. We also have hot swappable fans as well. So if you have a fan that fails on this device, instead of having to RMA the unit, take it out, you can actually replace that fan individually. Same goes for those power supplies. You have 2 power supplies there. They're all hot swappable. You can have an extra on hand. If anything happens, you can swap one of those out without any issue. But this is really a switch that I don't think it's from, a lot of environments aren't going to need one of these. That's the reality of it. For any large deployment, I recommend it as your aggregation switch for a very large deployment, or for anything that is high demand. For the price point and what this offers, it's still affordable compared to competitive products, and without any licensing fees. That makes it a really great value. So I think those integrators, MSPs that deploy to larger businesses and in an enterprise scale, you'll find that this is definitely a very competitive product. But for a lot of you might wonder, like, maybe this isn't going to be good for most of your installs, and that's totally fair. I think what you'll find is that our new access switches are probably more likely to be deployed in more more deployments. More deployments could actually use this switch just based on what it offers. So this is our access switches that goes along with the aggregation switch that runs in there in your MDF and connects all your access switches. Um, and these access switches are very powerful devices. These offer 920 gigabits per second switching. They have also the same power supply, redundant power supplies and hot swappable fan modules. And then these are all built around 10 gig, 32 ports of 10 gig, 16 ports of 2.5 gig on the 48 port version, and then 425 gig SFP plus ports. So these 25 gig ports work really well with the ECS aggregation, which has those 25 gig ports on the device, and so it's a good way for you to handle networking at whatever scale you need. Also, one thing to note with 2150 watt of PoE availability, it's just really impressive in terms of you can handle any scale application in terms of number of clients from a switch like this, and you can handle any scale of power demand in modern PoE applications. So that's one of the great things about going with these enterprise line is for larger deployments is you can just basically guarantee if you choose our enterprise SKUs, you can handle whatever scale a customer needs. So yeah, I'm excited about these switch models. Now we also have another model coming out later this year. It's a very similar SKU. It's a very similar product to the previous one. This is just going to add those additional ports you see there at the bottom on the back of the device. So these devices can be used for switch stacking. This just allows another option for redundancy. You can currently have fully redundant switches and the access switches right now and UniFi with STP blocking, also with with our upstream switches with aggregation switch with the MC lag and all that. But this just gives you another option for redundancy. Some people out there are used to working with stacking. That's maybe what you're most comfortable with in terms of redundancy. This will add those ports there so you can stack these devices together for that improved resilience and for some convenience there and improve bandwidth. That's really what it offers over current redundancy options on the platform is just going to offer additional bandwidth so you're not using those ports as well as port availability on the front of the switch. But yeah, I'm excited about this switch. This should be later in Q3 or so. But for most deployments, I think you'll find that the previous switch is going to be adequate. But it'll be nice to have stacking available on the product line as well. But you can kind of see how this brings together. Like we also have enterprise access points and enterprise gateway. But let me show you how this all fits in for the product. So we are our gateways can be used in high availability. So with the Enterprise Fortress Gateway and any of our new cloud gateways can be used in high availability mode via RRP. So this is great if you have a failure on your gateway, it can automatically take over the second device and not even drop your connection. So you can be on a Zoom call if the primary gateway happened to have a failure and was offline, that second would take over automatically without dropping your calls. Now you can also have redundant paths and connections to these MC lag switches, these ECS aggregation. These can be set up with MC lag so that they're fully redundant. So if either of these switches failed, all the other pathing could still be done. Everything could be done in the absence of one of those switches. You can also have devices with redundant links on those, like going to a server. Or our enterprise MVR has dual NICs on it that if there's a failure, then it can also take over if one of those cables fails in between or the NIC fails. We also have those switches that can be deployed either using link aggregation, or you can use switch stacking when we have that in the future, or STP blocking, however you want to do this with redundant paths. But the nice thing is with these switches, you can also have it to where there's no single point of failure on your whole network. And this goes down all the way to the Wi-Fi devices. So our new enterprise access points have dual NICs on them, so that if one of those you've already installed those devices, it happens one of those cables fails. Having worked with support in the past, I can tell you cables often the first point of failure I see on when there's an access point goes offline. What's great about these, they have dual NICs, so you can have dual cables so that if one of those fails, it'll continue to stay online. So this is a full platform designed around redundancy, and I think you'll find that this really sets UniFi up to be used in any application at any scale, and it really kind of changed the narrative about UniFi being an enterprise product. I just wanted to call out one question I had real quick. If there's something on the topic as I see, I'll speak to that. But Brad, you mentioned if we join the partner program, does that help with some of the issues with finding product in stock? I would say absolutely. That's part of the nice thing about this product. These products are not priced at a level that is affordable. I mean, these are not products that are meant to be used in every home, right? Most home users don't need 100 gig QSFP28 connections, right? So the nice thing is about with these products is that we're selling them through a smaller distribution channel on only a limited number of partners. There's only 5, I think, in the U.S. right now that you can buy these from. Wave ISP Supplies being one of those, which means you're not that they should be reliably have these products in stock. I think we're finding that Jonathan, you can probably speak to this, but consistently with these new enterprise products, given the price point, and also like they have larger order quantities and everything, we see that distributors are having more of these products in stock more consistently, and we hope this will be a source of a more reliable source of stocking moving forward. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
We've
part of
noticed very
yeah,
reliable stock on the enterprise line. So
cool.
far, so good.
Yep. So yeah, hopefully that we find that's also a solution to that problem, Brad. Is that's the other complaint I often hear from integrators and MSPs is about stocking. The partner program gives you a new product that can handle any scale. It gives you more reliable stock, uh, and also it gives you enhanced margins. So this is kind of the nice answer to those questions I've been getting for years from integrators and MSPs when I go to trade shows. It's nice to have to finally be able to tell you guys I got a solution for you with this program. So take advantage of that. Talk to Wave ISP Supplies about that, and they'll be able to help you out. All right. Let's move on. Well, I'll just answer this other question from Andrew real quick. Any plans on making switches for internet 10 gig for media companies? We do have the new 10 gig switches that we've released that I think may be an answer to these problems. So I think if you check out those new SKUs I mentioned, the XG switches, I think you'll find that those will be a potentially solution. Now we're also coming out with more higher end switches here in the future. We've talked about, or maybe have some other um, multi-gig options out there, but 10 gig should be pretty standard now across our products. You'll see it now with our new APs, with the new XG APs, as well as the XG switches. I think you'll find that UniFi is now totally capable of handling 10 gig applications. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some of the features that makes managing UniFi convenient. So one thing I'll mention too, a lot of times people want to use stacking when they want to use a switching product. People that have worked with other vendors that market stacking a lot. I won't mention any names, but you know who they are. Stacking, the idea of stacking there is it's meant to also not also offer resiliency and redundancy, but it's supposed to also make it easier to deploy and manage switches, especially in platforms where a lot of management is done on command line. To be able to merge those multiple switches into one control plane makes it is an attractive feature for a lot of customers. With our product, all of our products designed around that same focus. We want to make um, global switch configuration really easy. So we have these features that make managing UniFi switches really simple and straightforward. Like for instance, like automatic topology generation and visualization, the ability to be able to see what all your devices are connected to in the software, be able to get information, make configuration changes through this topology, and also not only that, you can get granular with configuration of ports. You can take all your ports across your whole deployment, aggregate them into one view here, and you can make configuration changes to if you want to change the VLANs on all your access switch ports going to VoIP phones, you can go in here, select all those. If you've labeled those when you installed it, you can set it up to where you can go here, select all those ports specifically, make the configuration change, and apply out a new port profile that's going to change the VLANs assigned. That's so simple and easy and straightforward, and I think that's part of the benefit of UniFi is that managing a large number of switches becomes very easy and scalable when you can make all these configurations from one place, as if you have all your switches combined to one giant switch, right? Like that's kind of what people want is more convenience. And so with UniFi, it's very convenient to be able to manage a subset of your switches or all your switches at one time through these Ethernet port profiles, as well as multi-device configuration. And analytics are also really helpful. You can see information about your switch ports, how much traffic they're passing, and what speed they're negotiating at, and other kinds of analytics you can use to identify potential issues, how much PoE usage, so on. Um, that's kind of, there's a lot of other features I can show you. I'll show you some of the ways that you can do this type of thing. If there's any feature that you want to see about in the switches, we've added a lot of things recently, like ACLs and um, in the product, as well as Pro AV. If any of you work with Pro AV, we've got Pro AV profiles. I'll show you some of this stuff in the software, but I just want to kind of give you a snapshot of um, a few of the um, a few of the features here that make managing switches convenient. So let's talk about PowerTech briefly. So let's spend a little time on this. I think this is a growing area in UniFi that we're going to see expand in the near future. Look forward for some new products in this category coming out pretty soon. We've got the PDU Pro. So this product's great. So we have a growing set of rack technology. We even started selling our own racks. We're working on getting that available through distribution. But these racks are really nice. They're beautiful devices. Make it I know a lot of you care a lot about how your racks look when you install new products at a customer deployment, and that's something that's a point of pride for a lot of people in this space. But with our PDUs, we offer two models currently: the USB PDU HD, which is a vertical for a full rack solution. It can be installed with power ports, power outlets plugged in throughout the device. It also includes multiple uh, NICs here, as well as USB-C interfaces. This allows you to do things like power cycle a port if you need to. Say there's an outage, or there's a device that's currently down. You can power cycle a port here to get that device to reboot. But we also have a horizontal one that can be installed. It's just a 2U install, so it's going to just take up two of those slots in your rack, but it's going to have multiple power outlets there, as well as the USB-C chargers and multiple NICs there, three 1 gig interfaces and 100 meg interface, and so on. We also have but yeah, these are nice things to have. I think you can look in the future for us to come out with some more power tech, like um, maybe some UPS in the future, things like that. Stay tuned for that. We also have some other redundancy options here that we offer. The USP RPS is one of those products I think a lot of people were confused about how this fits in. The idea here is for those, we showed you those enterprise switches that all have the redundant power supplies. Our other switches that we have, the pro level, those ones will not have redundant PSUs. So this is a way for you to add some redundancy there for your system. So with these power backup, the USB or USP RPS has 6 of these RPS smart power cable connectors in the back, and these can be plugged into the back of your other professional devices, like the let's say it's a Switch Pro Max 48. It can be plugged into to one of our MVRs that has this on it. Basically, you can plug this into these devices, and then if there's a power supply failure on that device, the primary power supply fails, it will roll over to this device. So this acts as a backup power supply for any of those devices. So basically, it's a way for you to add on that to any of these devices, and it's pretty scalable and affordable. But that's how this works. That USB cable, it plugs in between these devices, and then it can be used to ensure that there's in the event the power supply fails, that it stays online. You can also have this plugged into into a redundant power, so that this stays online in the event that the primary fails. Primary connection fails, it's a good way for you to keep those critical devices online. We also offer this high avail, this mission critical switch here. This is another one that's interesting. It can be used with with UniFi access deployments to keep those on the line. It's got an integrated battery in it that will keep a device online. It also supports connection to an external battery there. But these are kind of our power options. Like I said, I expect to see a lot more over the next year or two, see some more products on this area with UniFi be released. So look forward to that. I think we see this as a way that we can grow our business and add more convenience and streamline the process of managing IT environments. So we want to be better at meeting the needs of your power tech needs for your switch rack and everything. So look for some of that to come in the future. All right. Let's go ahead. I think that's all I have for slides. I just got some resources here. Sorry, cut off here. Got some resources here that you guys can use they're kind of helpful links. I'll take you through some of these things today, but this is just something to look at. If there's some different resources we offer that will make your job a little easier. Let's go ahead and answer some questions real quick. I'll just open up some time for some questions before I move on to the rest of the presentation. I want to make sure I answered all the questions we have already. Let's see. It looks like Andrew has a follow-up. I see many of the SKUs that offer only few 10 gigs. Let me show you the newest one that we just announced. I'll stop sharing here and I'll switch to a different screen here. Let me show you the new professional XG switches. Here we are. I'm going to share my screen again here.
While you're doing that, Andrew, I'm going to address a couple short questions here that we received. Can you send us a
Sure,
copy of the slide with the links? Yeah, we
sure.
will be following up with an email to everybody with a copy to our YouTube link so you can rewatch this presentation. And we'll also be including all the links in Andrew's last slide there. Also, for any kind of enterprise project that anyone might have, in order to get those projects registered, you can just shoot us an email at sales@ispsupplies.com. Also, if you see in the chat there, Byron jumped in. You can also email him direct, byron@ispsupplies.com. But once we get your project registered, we can go ahead and start working through all the details and discounts available and all that good stuff.
So great. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Let me show you this, Andrew, here. This is the newest switch we just announced. So these have if you look at the new XG switches, we have several ports on these that are 10 gig. Let's start this one from the beginning. Here, I'll show you just one moment. Or I can just take you to the product pages. So let's go look at that. So we have on this device, we have 32 ports that are 10 gig on this one. On the Pro XG48, we got 32 10 gig ports, and we also have 16 2.5. We also have the other Pro XG24 PoE. You mentioned 24 ports. We have one here that has 16 of those 10 gig ports. We also have the 10 the 10 port option as well. This is all 10 of these are 10 gig. So hopefully that answers that question there. Dennis, so I saw it right in the first slide. There was a new rack with UniFi equipment. Now, yeah, that's what I mentioned. This is something we're working on getting available through distribution. We have let's see if I can show you that. Yeah, this is the 42U rack cabinet here that we offer. If you've been to any of our trade shows, you can see this. We have it on display there. It's a really nice full server rack there. Yeah, we showed this off at trade shows, and then everyone liked it so much that they kept asking us if we'd sell it, so we decided to start selling it. So, yeah, there you go. But yeah, we're working on getting that available through distribution somehow. It's just a lot of logistics with it being such a large device to ship. The most expensive part about this product would be the shipping, right? How expensive it is to ship this. We ship it fully assembled currently, and it's just we have to iron out those kinks. All right, cool. Well, I'll move on now. We can have some more time for some questions in a few minutes, but I just want to show you on our website. I mentioned the website and kind of the resource that it is here. You can see now we've got anytime we come out with a new product, we update the categories here. We've got the Enterprise Campus, Professional XG, like that 10 gig switch we were just talking about, Pro Max, and so on. We have these nice comparison tables here that you can refer to. Like this is something helpful that you can help provide to customers as well. If they're if you want to give them a couple options about different SKUs they can go with, you can use these comparison tables to kind of give them an overview. One thing I didn't mention in this call was ether lighting. If you haven't tried that out yet, it's pretty cool. Basically, this gives you the ability to assign tags to your switch ports. So let's say you install a new deployment for a customer and you have 15 VoIP phones, you have 10 cameras, and then like maybe another 50 wired devices that are desktop computers. And a handful of APs. You could actually tag all those switch ports with desktop PC for some of them. Assign that the blue color. You could assign an orange color to all your cameras, a green color to all your VoIP phones. And if you need to see those, if you need to go service the devices, and you wanted to look and see what all you're at the rack. Sometimes it's hard to get it straight, even if you label. Sometimes it's difficult to see. To be able to light up and illuminate those switch ports and show you which switch port is going to what is kind of a really nice feature. And with ether lighting, you can set this up however you want, but it can give you information about like the speed, the negotiation on those switch ports. It can also give you lighting to show which VLAN VLANs are assigned and so on. But this is really, I thought when we first released it, I thought this was kind of a gimmicky feature, but I've already had to use it a ton of times. What I hear from installers and integrators is they love this feature. So this is available on anything Pro Max and higher, Ether lighting is. Now, another thing I wanted to mention was Pro AV support. We also support Pro AV profiles. So if you guys are working with home theater installs sometimes, or with uh, certain technologies like that, we actually now have built-in Pro AV profiles that we can use, and I can show you what that looks like to assign that out. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this website, but you can check out all the new, these new switches I just mentioned that we've announced. Really exciting. These 25 gig SFP 28 uplinks, 10 gig, high power PoE, and so on. But they partner really well with our new XGAPs. So we come out with our new XGAPs that are 10 gig. So these make a really good companion to those. All right. Let me show you now I'm going to take you through a few things. Let's look first at, I'll show you my lab, and I want to show you a few things that you can configure. So first of all, I'll show you how our new port profiles work. So you can let's go select one of our new, let's suggest one of our switches here. I can go in here to one of the switch ports here, and I can go to manual here, and I can go ahead and assign on a Pro AV. So I can do a Pro AV port profile, and I can use one of these. If you're using Dante, QSys, NDI, Crestron, or your UniFi Play amps, we have built-in QoS that's optimized for these manufacturers' requirements that basically improves and make sure that these kind of high sensitivity applications are best are delivered the kind of connection they need. So this is a pretty nice feature that just streamlines it. You can go ahead and configure these and select what you want. If you want NDI with Dante audio for a deployment, you can select that all here. But I just wanted to show you that real quick. That's a new feature that for Pro AV integrators, or ones that have, if you've considered dabbling in that, this is going to make your job a little bit easier. I also mentioned that you can that we have ACLs as well. We've built those in recently. You can do MAC address filtering on these ports. You can allow MAC addresses. You can also customize your ACL settings here. Settings, security, ACL, and we can make rules either MAC address lists, things like that. We can set to block all except for these MAC addresses and so on. We can customize this. All right. But yeah, it's pretty easy to manage. I can show you guys have seen have probably worked with it for here, but you can go to all ports. You can go ahead and make changes out. If I go create a new port profile, let's say I want to assign a new port profile to my access switches. I can go in here to profile, Ethernet port, create new. Let's say, these are all the switches, the ports on our access switches that are going to APs. We want to have a specific, let's say we're using the NWAL APs. We want to have a specific VLAN. We want to assign, we'll use the native VLAN for that, but then we want to tag only the IoT and the guests on this. We can go ahead and save that, and we can configure any of these other features here if we want to, but I'll go ahead and apply that change. Now I can go to my switch ports that are going to my APs, go in here to ports, and I can even go through I can look at the ones that are assigned to my access points here across multiple switches and so on, or in the same switch. You can go ahead and make this change that I'm going to assign that port profile I just created. That then will change those VLANs. So that's how easy it is. You can do that for all your ports here. You can go multiple here, so on. But it's really pretty easy to go ahead and deploy these and make those changes. Okay. But yeah, that's what managing switch ports is like in UniFi if you haven't used it. I want to show you our design center too. This is another nice feature that we have. Let's say that you're doing an deployment at an apartment complex. You can lay out your APs. You can draw and simulate the cable runs to these APs, and you can get an idea of what you can check and double check before you're doing the deployment what the PoE power is going to be used for this. So let's say that I add on. Let's go ahead and add some more devices. Let's say I want to add on a few of our U7 Pro Maxes here. I'm not saying we would need this for this deployment, but just for the example of testing this, I can go ahead and connect those, and then I can go ahead and add those on, and I can go ahead and draw the cables to connect these into the. We just won't bother with actually drop to the conduit and whatnot. But now we can see here, um, when I go click on this, it's going to give me an alert, and it's going to show me that I'm actually exceeding my power usage right now. So that would explain I need to I need to change my switching. So instead of maybe maybe I need to add another switch, or could you switch to the 48 port or the 24 port, depending on how much power I need. I can make a decision based on that. And here we go. Now we're okay with power. You see we're at 214 out of 580 watts. You can also you get an idea of like what the ports are going to look like going to the devices, see a topology of these switches, and so on. But this is a really nice feature. You can even use the design center to generate equipment lists. Then you can go to Wave and say we want to order this equipment. You can get an idea of how much cabling you need to. Like we simulate the cable runs if you draw the cable conduit and everything, and you can simulate and get an idea of how much cabling you're going to need. You can order that as well and find out how many spools of cabling you need to order. Uh, but yeah, it's really straightforward and easy to use, and it's a great way for you to get an idea of what you need for a deployment before you're there. And especially when it comes to checking power on devices, you can see um, by changing devices, it's going to keep track of all the power demands of these devices. What's the maximum power consumption? It's going to calculate that for me so that we can always double check, make sure I have enough, I have adequate switching infrastructure to be able to provide for that. Any questions about design tool? Yeah, so Robert, I see that you had a question about, is there a training video for deep dive for the design tool? I think we may have something on our community, on our YouTube channel, but I do think maybe this is a good idea, Jonathan. In the future, we could do a deep dive for a webinar
Yes, that,
on the design tool, because I think this is such a powerful uh, tool for you as integrators, MSPs, to be able to go into this product, plan out your deployment, simulate coverage. Um, it's really valuable that way. And so I think, yeah, it would make a lot of sense. You can even do cameras too, just so you know. You can place cameras on here, get an idea for what the viewing angle is going to look like. Let's say we want all these apartments to have, or we want to have one at the stairwell that looks at all the, at the people that are approaching. We can go ahead and we can draw this and get an idea for what we would see on that, um, and simulate that camera angle and the coverage there. But this tool is really nice, and I do recommend it. You can also export PDFs, including things like um, your company branding and logo. You can upload your company logo. You can generate a sales proposal as planned. And honestly, you can do a whole design in a short time. You mentioned about building materials. I got distracted, but let me answer that question. I can go ahead and assign the materials. When I draw the walls, I can go ahead and specify what's the materials of that wall. And you can see here how it's going to change. Let's switch back to Wi-Fi. I can change this, and we can see how it's going to change the performance and how it's going to affect, the RF environment. So I wouldn't actually use these in real life. I wouldn't use the U7 Pro Max. It's a little overkill. But with those two in walls for each apartment, I think it's pretty good coverage on 5 gigahertz there that I feel comfortable about this. But yeah, you can see how the building materials changes the performance. Like I've got all drywall here. This is brick on the outside. But yeah, it changes for each material that you use. Um, are studs factored? I don't know. I don't think we have everything down to studs included in that. We could possibly, I'm not sure. But you can actually customize if you test the walls out. Let's go ahead and draw walls. I thought we had a feature to do custom on this. Maybe we don't have that at this point. But I do think maybe we offer these materials currently, but you can also specify and test and see which one of these is going to more closely affect the signal from the APs.
and we will definitely be following up with a design tool how to. Prior to this webinar, we also received several questions, several how to questions, how to set up a guest network on a UniFi switch, QoS, site to site VPN, etc. So be on the lookout for more how to instructional videos that we'll be putting up in future releases. So yeah, we're definitely going to address all those questions.
Cool. Yeah, so we do have multiple floors supported right now, but I don't think it's currently set up to model um, interference from floor to floor. That's good to know, Robert. That sounds great. All right. Other questions for me about design tools. So yeah, it kind of helps you see how the utility for switches. But any other questions about this that I can answer for anyone? All right. Um,
I'm sure we'll have a lot more questions coming up. And if anyone thinks of any questions after this presentation, shoot us an email, please, sales@ispsupplies.com. We'll make sure to get them answered for you. And if we need to spin off a how-to video showing you step by step, we definitely will. We're more than happy
Yeah,
to.
that sounds great. Let me show you guys another thing that I can highlight for you. So we've updated our tech specs recently. So if you guys are tech specs at ui.ui.com, you can get a comparison table that you can use for comparing switches when you're making a decision about a switch. So let's say that you want to compare our aggregation switches to each other. I guess these ones maybe not great. Well, here they are. Uh, we can see we can get an overview of what the specs are on these devices. We can see the differences in their capacity, and you can use this for making decisions about which switch that you need for a particular application. So you can see here the difference in capacity from 3.6 terabits per second to 760 to 160 and so on for each use case. So MAC address table size 256,000 versus 16,000. If you're going to use this, if you're going to have 16,000 potential MAC addresses on the switch behind the switch, so that many client devices, probably not a good idea. You want to go upgrade to one of these higher scale deployments or these higher scale devices. So you can see here too, like the capabilities, what they have. It's pretty big difference. But you can do this for any of our switches. You can go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and do a comparison between maybe. Let's just choose some of our as example. I can show you the difference between the Pro XG48. We'll do the Pro Max 48, uh, and we'll do. Yeah, let's just look at those two side by side. And we can do the Pro 48. Looks like this is a different category, but I can go in here to all, and then I can select them from this view to compare across any product line. So if I go Pro XG48, Pro Max 48, and Standard 48, so on, I can get a comparison between show you the difference between all these different products. So it's nice to build your own table, and you can use this to be able to provide to a customer, help them make decisions, and to inform your choice when choosing SKUs for deployment. All right. Which lines of switches support Pro AV profiles? Let me take you to the help desk here, the help center, and then we'll find that. Let me show you this too, our UniFi GPT. This can be a useful resource as well. You can often ask questions too here and get answers. I will say sometimes it's not 100% accurate, so check the resource, the references it provides. But this is an example of a question you could ask: which switches support Pro AV profiles? All right, so it says most switches do, so it doesn't give you a specific list, but I can tell you we have an article on that. So let's go ahead and look for that. Um, UniFi Pro AV profiles. Here you go. Uh, this is here's a list of support models. We have them coming out for our enterprise line too. They haven't been added to the ECS line yet because it's just brand new release. But that is our backlog. It's going to be added for those. All right. Any other questions for me? I got about 5 minutes, so if you have any other thing you want on this topic or anything unrelated to, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Looks like we're coming to a close, Andrew.
All
Thank you
right, well,
very much
great.
for going over all the information and making it very easy to retain and understand.
Hey, my
Those
pleasure.
are, yeah, and for everyone that submitted questions, also thank you for your participation. We like to not only thank Andrew for that rundown, but also everyone that took time to join us today. And as we mentioned before, we will upload this video on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ISP supplies, and we'll be sharing it across social media as well. So make sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on all platforms if you haven't already. And for more information on Ubiquiti products, including both UniFi and UISP lines, please email us at sales@ispsupplies.com, or you can give us a call. Our number is 855 WISP Pro, or 855 947 7776. And we'll be able to assist you with project planning, pre and post sales support, inventory, sourcing, design assistance, pretty much anything you need to have a successful and profitable Ubiquiti deployment. So, well, thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of your week. Until next time.
Thanks everyone for your questions. Thanks, Jonathan. Bye bye.
Thank you, Andrew. Bye bye.